get a great odds of this. Whenever I hear news about Israel and about new efforts from our State Department, I think, well, good luck. Good luck. It's one of those cases where you have this kind of thing going on virtually all your life. All my life, it seems, Israel and the Palestinians, in essence. In all sorts of attempts, you begin to wonder, why don't we just get everybody out of there and just flatten it all? Why? This is so ridiculous. And it keeps going on year after year, generation after generation. Only God really can do this. I wish Miss Clinton as our Secretary of State. Blessing. Your prospects, I'm not sure. I'm a doubter. You need God. There needs to be God in this. Verse 16 says that he might reconcile both unto God in one body, it says. By the cross, key words, having slain the enmity. Enmity is a variation of that word enemy. The seemingly natural antagonism and hatred between the parties. Verse 16 says reconcile. That's what you and I attempt to do somehow today. I don't know how you do it modern type-wise. In my house, I've turned the checkbook over to the wife. She does most of it on the computer. I love your household. Anyways, in the old days, you had a checkbook, you tore a check out, and you wrote on it, and then you wrote the checkbook what it was for, with a corresponding number, check, and checkbook. Then you sent it off in the mail. And then later, you heard from the bank that indeed that check had been turned in. It was there on the report. Most of our reports today are photographic facsimiles, aren't they, of the actual check. And here you have this before you. You have notes as to sending it off. You have notes that it was spent and what for, and that the bank had received it. And because, like in our house, there's so many of them, you start in an ordered pattern to check. There's a little space for checking off what you're matching up. And your goal is that there's an explanation for everything you've done, and it all comes out even. It's sort of like our counters here at Woodside, who are counting their monies. I think last week I heard they set a record. They were still counting money and trying to get it straight at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. About 3.5, 4 hours. Was it last Sunday or the Sunday before that, counters? That wasn't because we had a huge offering. It's just because it's not easy to reconcile and to get things balanced out. And you know what? When the situation is as complex as human beings, who is ever going to get things straight between Israel and the Palestinians, or the Israel and the Arabs in general, or Israel and the Muslims? That he might reconcile both unto God in one body. How's it done? Verse 16. By the cross, having slain, destroyed utterly the enemyhood between the parties, slaying the enmity. This sounds like heaven, doesn't it? This must be what they're talking about when they're talking about the millennium. It's not current, is it? Has it happened and I don't know about it? No, it hasn't happened. Look at verse 17. And came and preached peace to you. You remember the verses that speak about the necessity of preaching, of there being a communication of the gospel, and the controversy, often the rejection of preaching, even though that is the means that God largely uses to draw people to himself, some variation or form of preaching, came and preached peace to you who were afar off. Who's that? That's the Gentiles again. Remember, that's us. Because we had none of that early relationship that Israel had with God. And we came to believe. How did we come to believe? Because Christ came. Because the Spirit worked. There was a preaching of peace that came to those of us who were far off. And even to them that were near, it says. Those are the Jews again there. Everybody, this is their key. This is the opening. This is the whole. Verse 18. For through him, God, we both have access by one Spirit. Notice capital S, Spirit. You have Spirit, I have Spirit. Alabama won their football game yesterday. They have reason to have good school spirit because they're number one in the nation. They won yesterday. We have better spirit. It's capital S Spirit. And here the Holy Spirit, by one Spirit under the Father. What we see in this matter is everything changed by the cross. And on your notes, we have this statement about 3/4 down. It's an old Indian kind of thing. It's got a blank, fill in the blank. The whole thing says the ground is level at the foot of the cross. We fight horribly in theology about who killed Jesus. It was the Romans. It was the Jews. It was, you name it. Frankly, the blame and the blessing is a leveler. We're all really to blame in something. Our sin certainly caused the necessity of the cross. The ground is level at the foot of the cross. One of the meanings of this is that you and I need to be careful about our prejudice. I'm convicted that virtually every human being has some group, some people they're prejudiced against. Now, a Christian needs to fight that. Huge. We need to fight that because that's not Jesus. That is not our God. Some notes. What about us? Number one, a truth here is that none need despair of himself. If we are Gentiles, then we become believers. Without all the equipment, with all the privileges, and still by his Spirit, we become covered by the blood of Christ. If there are indeed 20 million Jews in the world today, a very small number, tragically so, are Christian, Messianic type Christians. There's hope. If there was hope for us who had no hope, remember? It says, without Christ, without God, without hope, etc. Without hope, we had no hope. If that's the case, and it is, and we got saved, Christians know this, that we should not despair about others. Others can become Christians too. Did you notice in the Metro paper this week, 2 big pages bought by Family Radio? Now, some of us listen to family radio. The music is pretty good as most of the Bible. But Mr. Camping, who was never named in the article, is suggesting that May 2011, that it's all going to be downhill, done, gone, dead. He believed, 10 years ago, wasn't he said that there would be no longer any salvation by the normal route. He really suggested radio's about it. The church is gone. Thank you, Mr. Campen, for contributing to the difficulties and the health of the local church by your poor meaning and misguided teaching. Of course, his date wasn't met. He said, as everybody does, I'm off by a year next year. Nothing. Still around. We don't know what's going to happen. Praise God, we have a God who does. And you know, people still need the Lord, and people can still be saved. Don't listen to the teaching that this man does. Why, number 2, the blood of Jesus meets our every need. Somebody was with me as we read this in Prairie, in this article in the Metro paper, Mr. Camping's radio ministry. And I'm so pleased that the young man who was with us noted after I read the whole thing aloud. He noted, it never really mentions the cross, does it? Or the blood. And we thought about it. And we couldn't see anything in that article about the cross and the blood of Christ. That's significant. That's tragic. And please know this, it is the blood of Christ that meets our every need. And then another thought, weak brother, weak sister, and we're all weak ourselves on occasion. But some, maybe you're one of them. You're going through something so bad, and for some years, you've been struggling. And you up here, but your heart's not here. And it's been a long time since you explained the Lord, I want to remind you of how truly good he is, really. May I say this is controversial. God is all-powerful. God is wisdom and love. But I've been meditating a little bit by a statement I saw, seen, and I think there might be some truth. God is all those things. Sometimes God is not nice. He could have done some things differently. I think about arthritis. It'd be awfully nice, we can learn quickly about sin by other suffering. Why don't we just settle on those roots of learning? Why must it be that we suffer as widely and horribly as we do? I can barely believe it. I'm 60 years old, and we still haven't got a cure for the cold. We still haven't got a cure for arthritis. I think, wow, why this root? And why the controversy between Jew and Gentile, that's tragic. As a believer, I try to trust God and say he knows better than I do, and that still all is well is going to be well. But sometimes I wish that coarse sandpaper that seems to be working on my life had a little finer grain, and that it wasn't hurting quite so bad. And God could be so nice if God had said, no, I'm not going to give these guys, none of them, arthritis. I still like the pictures. I wish I had money to contribute to the smile train. Those little children with the cleft palates. It's his mercy that each of us does not have a cleft palate. It's his mercy that he didn't make man so that every one of us has some kind of variation of some cleft palate. He could have done that way. I think we have a God we can trust and love and enjoy. I'm not always sure that he's nice the way I want him to be nice. And I want my ice cream, and I want all the toppings. But I don't think sometimes that I know what's best for myself. And I trust him. I must trust him. I didn't get saved because he was a nice guy to me. I was because I got convicted finally that I needed to do something about what the truth of the Bible says about him. And I trusted him. If I allow suffering and my discomfort in this world to abuse me in my heart or in my living, my actions, as to his love and his trustworthiness, what will others say who watch me? Because we do testify before others at the Lord's table, but really through mostly all the rest of our lives. Yes, we should be, we're the only one that should be faithful on the job. We must be. We must work for the man. We must be honest. We must have other characteristics that are those who are Christian. But we also need to live trusting and loving him. We're not in it for the gravy. We're not in it for the riches. We're not in it for the better life. Frankly, we're in it, aren't we? Because of him. Don't we sing this? Isn't it really that we're in it because of the wonder who he is? And why that translates into our hope and salvation. It's not because we live better than Christians on the other side of this world. It's not because I can dress well, I can hold my head up high, that I'm a success in mine own eyes. It is because I'm happy in him, because he has given me life and breath, and it is to his glory and not to my glory. Or it ought to be that way. So, weak brother, weak sister. And all this will be weak sometime. Sometimes. Weak brother, weak sister. Look how far he has brought you, and still intends to take you. Johnny Erickson Todd and others like her, she even suggests herself, are here and have troubles. They may be testimonies that their love for God is not contingent upon the ease or the comfort of their living this room feel that he is worthy. Whether he should, as he might or could, wash his hands of us, that we might lose this easy life many of us, or most of us, are living. And with it lose our love for him. That's a tragedy. Do we love him despite that? Do we love him for who he is? And the salvation he has given everything for?